Another edition of Convention Tea. I'm your host, Dame Azabel, and we're going to talk about Anime Los Angeles 19, or rather, Anime Los Angeles 2024. You see, Anime Los Angeles, as a part of their branding, they like to call themselves Anime Los Angeles, insert number of consecutive year here, so this is not about Anime Los Angeles 2019, rather, the 19th annual Anime Los Angeles happening in the LBC, or Long Beach. LBC is kind of like what is locals call Long Beach, thanks to a certain dog of Snoop kind. But before we get things started, let's just talk about who we are. So, if this is your first time checking out an episode of Convention Tea, just a little bit about who we are. I've been running Scarlet Rhapsody since the year 2000. And in the year 2000, I attended my first anime convention solo, which was Anime Expo at the Disneyland Hotel and Resort, which was a pretty trippy experience when you think about it, like weebs running around the Disneyland Hotel convention center, you know. And I decided, like, okay, I have all these photos, all these stories of my 15-year-old self running around the convention. I'm gonna make a blog about it. I'm gonna post all my cosplay photos. I'm gonna put it on my website, and I'm gonna like sort of just talk about my experience as a 15-year-old fangirl at this convention. And that blog entry was as cringy as you can imagine a 15-year-old writing it. But you know what? I kind of made a semi professional career out of it, blogging about anime conventions, talking about my experience, running this stream with you right now. And I'm not stopping anytime soon because I love talking about anime conventions. I love seeing the evolution of anime conventions for better or for worse. And having this website holding over 20 years of anime convention history is really key to the community to know where they came from and where they're going. So this is a hobby that I thoroughly enjoy, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon because, well, someone's got to be the lore keeper of the anime convention world. Also, just a quick shout out to Melancholia. They commissioned my avatar here, Nadeshko Gatsby. I really hope to have a lot of things happening with Nadeshko Gatsby here in the future. So stay tuned. Keep checking out our Twitch channel so you can meet this Nadeshko Gatsby persona. Looking forward to it. All right, let's talk about some Anime Los Angeles 19 or Anime Los Angeles 2024. This year, Anime Los Angeles saw about 17,000 unique attendees. And it was a pretty big convention. I'm not gonna lie, like, this is a convention that happens the first weekend of the year. And as people are just kind of just getting out of the holiday mode and just kind of like, just easing back from the holidays to real life, they're easing from the holidays into their first anime convention. You can see here, this is the general lobby of the Long Beach Convention Center. You can kind of see, people just kind of mingling, hanging out. There was there was like this nut dealer. You can kind of see them right over here. They were like just selling nuts, like in the lobby of the convention center and also in the dealer's hall. And I thought that was okay, that's an interesting choice for an anime convention to have, like this nut dealer. But I found out that they were asked by the main convention center to be a dealer there because I'm like, well, I'm not really seeing the marriage between nuts and anime. Maybe you have like a Kit Kat dealer that has like all the Japanese Kit Kats. That I can understand, but like, nut dealer, that's kind of unique. I've never really seen like nut dealers even at Comic Con, so I thought that was a pretty interesting entry at Anime Los Angeles. But you know what? Anime Los Angeles 19, this year, their theme was video games. Um, I actually did check out the arcade for a little bit on Saturday. It was a pretty small arcade. It was held like in the ballroom of like the basement of the Long Beach Terrace Theater. Just kind of like funky to navigate, but we'll get more into that later. But this year's theme was video games. And we did see like, well, a lot of Genshin cosplayers, and we'll talk more about like what were the popular fandoms of Anime Los Angeles 19. So, these were my cosplays at Anime Los Angeles, or just a meager handful of them, because I actually did bring in my Usagi for a Sailor Moon photo shoot. So I decided to bring Miyaka from Fushigi Yugi. For you Anime Expo old timers out there, if you recall, Iwatase, the creator of Fushigi Yugi, was a guest at Anime Expo '01 when it was held at the Long Beach Convention Center. So just to kind of honor one of my manga idols, I decided to cosplay as Miyaka. I've never had a chance to cosplay as Miyaka back in the early 2000s because I didn't really have the resources or the money as a broke ass teenager to do the costume. But now that I wanted to do it and with my vision of the Princess of Suzaku outfit, I decided to just frolic around day one as the Priestess of Suzaku. Yay for female led isekai. And then I decided to keep it casual on Saturday, so I ended up wearing Your Forger in her casual red sweater outfit. It was a very cozy costume, and it was a very comforting costume considering we had like a lot of wind chill in Long Beach. So, the convention takes place in early January, and we have something called Southern California winter. I know my East Coast friends are like, Southern California winter, like, you babies. Yeah, SoCal winter can like be around like 60 degrees, high 50s, and a lot of us people in SoCal, we can't handle this. Whereas I'm like, cold never bothered me anyway. And of course, I was invited to be part of a Genshin maid group, and I was roped in like literally like less than a week before the con. It's like, hey, we need a Jean. Like, you have a Jean maid outfit? Like, sure, I'll cosplay as Jean, and I'll probably pick up a sword in the dealer's hall, which I did. I picked up like this foam sword for like $25. It was funny because when I was re-entering the convention as Jean with this very tiny sword right here. I'm just like looking at the ratio and proportions. Like, yeah, I could probably use a larger sword for my proportions here. But it's okay. But yeah, as I was entering the convention center, like, the security was like, "Is this made out of foam?" Like, yeah, it's made out of foam. You can feel it's very lightweight. Are you sure? Like, dude, it's made out of foam. Like, I'm not gonna murder anyone with this sword. Like, I swear by my sword, this is made of foam. So yeah, I always talk about like what are some of the more popular costumes. Ignore the subtitle here. So some of the more popular fandoms that were represented at Anime Los Angeles, and while I did feel that there was a garden variety of fandom represented, there's always like the ones that like are really popular, the ones that are really coming out and just really representing. Of course, Genshin is always, I feel for a while, is going to be completely evergreen. So as long as they produce some amazing character designs and waifus and husbandos, Genshin is going to be in the top spot for quite some time at anime related conventions. Though it does tickle my fancy anytime I see Genshin cosplayers also overtaking the pop culture conventions. I mean, I did cosplay as Ningguang at WonderCon. I've seen both generations of Trigun at Anime Los Angeles, so the Stampede version and also the old school version that I grew up on. So it was just also surreal seeing like Wolfwoods would carry on crosses again because like, oh my god, it's like Anime Expo '01 over again. Well, the Wolfwoods just dragging their crosses around the convention center, and of course Chainsaw Man because simple costume and Chainsaw Man. It's a pretty decent shonen anime. I also enjoy Chainsaw Man as well. So yeah, I would say if I had to pick a top three top fandoms of the convention, definitely Genshin, Trigun, both generations, and Chainsaw Man. If you were at Anime Los Angeles, what do you think were like the most popular fandoms represented? Leave that in the comments. I'd like to know what you think were the most popular fandoms represented. And also, I have a section here called surprise fandoms. So I call these surprise fandoms because like, oh hey, like that's old school, or oh hey, that's a throwback. So I was happy to see Ranma cosplayers. I later in the slideshow, I have like a group of Ranma cosplayers. Like, it's so much so that like I just started watching and binging Ranma again because it's on Hulu. Like, I'm also in the middle of like just watching the movies this afternoon, both movies. I have a soft spot for the first one because that was like one of the first anime movies I've ever watched and the first anime movies I've ever owned on DVD. And of course, I'm always happy anytime I see Berserk cosplays. I know Berserk has been like having like this huge resurgence with Gen Z, and it's always just cool to me just seeing like all these Berserk cosplayers. So I got Guts right here while I was like leaving a panel. And of course, Saint Seiya. This Saint Seiya cosplayer was hanging out with an Athena, like during like the convention. I didn't get a shot of the Athena cosplayer because I was like, "Ugh, I want it. Like you guys are so far. I want to get a photo of you because I know my friend, our friend, Professor Ramses will definitely appreciate this. But like, just seeing all the detail like in this costume and just kind of like just seeing like just everything about it. And we were just having a very like long conversation about Saint Seiya. Um, and like, yeah, this is just kind of like why I like talking to people like from like throwback fandoms because yeah, like it doesn't matter like if your fandom is like the in thing right now or not. Like you're going to represent and when you meet someone part of that same fandom as you are, like, oh my god, you guys are going to gush about said fandom and that's what I love about anime conventions. All right, let's dig deeper into Anime Los Angeles. So I just I arrived on day 0, checked into my hotel at the Renaissance, and I decided to just, just take it easy. I was actually watching dubbed episodes of Please Save My Earth. Um, it's on YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this anime in a while. I wonder if it holds up. Oh my god, it does not. So just kind of like, just take it easy and just kind of like just ease in through the weekend because I was still kind of like getting over like a lot of holiday this and that, just transition from like holiday mode into hi, I'm in an anime convention and I'm here to live my best otaku life. And speaking of which, one of the first costumes I've seen when I entered the convention on day 1 was this Tokyo Mew Mew group. I'm like, yay, Tokyo Mew Mew. Speaking of throwbacks, and of course, Tokyo Mew Mew has had a resurgence with the new anime, so like, it's always just cool, like, to seeing a full group of like Tokyo Mew Mew characters. Yay, girl power, Mew Mew power. Just some highlights for some Thursday cosplays. So Thursday was a very light day. Not a lot of people really show up on Thursday. Like, Thursday was just pretty chill. Like, I just walked around the dealer's hall for the most time, just kind of like just seeing who was there. Walked around Arts Alley, just kind of see who was there, and also just kind of checked in with the formal dance because I was also staffing the formal dance. So just a couple of just cosplay highlights here. On Thursday, some of my personal favorites. Also, just a couple more Thursday cosplay highlights. I was very happy to see a Lupin the Third cosplayer. Like, yay, Lupin the Third! I love Lupin the Third. And I'm always happy to see Arcane cosplayers because I am looking forward to that season 2 of Arcane. And of course, here's my boss here, Mikotan, representing the Toho booth. And of course, as I was perusing through the dealer's hall, we also had the Arcane Maid Cafe, and there was always a huge line for like the Japanese food featured at the Arcane Maid Cafe because I think a couple years ago I ended up like ordering some takoyaki there and like a milk tea, just kind of like just energize myself. They usually have some really good food with them. I didn't do it this time, but I just also wanted to acknowledge that like, yay, these people usually come in with like some really tasty food and it's usually worth the wait, but I'm not really one to like just stand in long lines for like simple things. But I like their food. I always appreciate seeing them at the convention because one of my friends, Nagi, who was also one of my assistants at the formal dance a couple years ago, is also part of Arcane Meat Cafe. Of course, one of my favorite things, I just kind of like just perusing around the dealer's hall, is just looking at the different Itasha cars. I admit I'm not really deep into Itasha culture, but I just kind of like looking like all the designs of every Itasha car because I always feel like anytime I go to a convention, I always see like a different display of Itasha cars and seeing like different waifus. Let's admit it, like yeah, it's all waifu representation. And I was very happy to see Komi here from Komi Can't Communicate, and I've been recently watching that series, and I've been in love with it. So, like, yay, Komi! And speaking of formal ball, right before the formal ball, you can also attend free dance lessons. So our team was like teaching dance lessons throughout most of Thursday leading up to the ball. So you can kind of see here like just nerds just kind of learning how to dance, and we were like just teaching like just different dance styles to our attendees. Also, some other Thursday cosplay highlights. I was very happy to see a handful of free running cosplayers throughout the weekend, and this is the first free running cosplayer I ran into. I also like the nice touch of the flower crown on there, because if I were going to cosplay from free run, I'd probably also wear the flower crown too. Also, blue roses. I love blue roses. Also, my buddy Dan here as Shinji. This is a year he is representing old school 90s fandom, so I'll be on the lookout for him because yeah, 90s anime, that's my era. And speaking of the 90s era, you got Black Lady here, or Wicked Lady, whichever you choose to prefer. But I just love how glittery they made their costume. I just love the chiffon, the use of chiffon. Like, oh, I love this. So happy to see Sailor Moon villains. And these were just some highlights from the ballroom dance here. So in the evening, we had our ballroom dance over at Live Programming 1. We did have a dance floor this time, but we kind of had some complications with dance floor because it was tearing itself apart. So talk about cutting a rug. Most of my duties at the formal ball were manhandling the cosplay contest. And these were our winners of the cosplay contest. So this photo is by our buddy Chris Pang. He is our official photographer of the California Cosplay Gala formal balls. And this is just kind of like our winner's circle over here. So what we're looking for, if you are planning to enter a formal ball cosplay contest, excuse me for one moment. If you're planning to enter like one of our formal balls, we're always looking for creativity, interpretation of the character in a formal outfit, or it can be a canonical outfit, such as this Black Butler cosplayer is wearing here, the Star and Tom cosplayer here. I did appreciate that we had My Chemical Romance cosplayers also represented here. I love the use of their beads as blood. So this is the Constant Contest sort of formal ball is meant to be novice friendly. It's meant to be fun, and I always love seeing everyone's costumes come out to the formal ball, and it's always just a wonderful sight to see when anytime I see like people either having their own original interpretations of formal outfits or canonical outfits. I always because one of the first things that got me into cosplay was like I want to make a ball gown. I want to make a fancy dress. And that was just my life for a while when I first started cosplaying. So really happy to be the head of the Formal Balls cosplay contest. And this is us and my team. So part of my team was, so let's go here from left to right. Kira Masquerade, part of Team USA World Cosplay Summit, a cosplaying Tofu who does amazing Azure Lane cosplays, and shame on Yostar for not recognizing a cosplaying Tofu for their amazing talent. And we also have our hotel mate Angel here representing Miraculous Ladybug as literally my voice for the competition because like I needed to preserve my voice because like yeah, I was also competing at Cosplay Wrestling Federation and I had to like save my voice before I go on stage. And also, this is our formal dance team right here. So we are a mix of folks from Southern California and Northern California. California Cosplay Gala. They're based up in the Bay Area. They do like a lot of formal dances. Like I said, they do teach a lot of the dances prior to the night of the dance. And if you're at the formal ball, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. If you have any feedback for us, let me know in the comments because I want to know how we can make an amazing formal ball for you next year. And if you also want to see a formal ball outside of Anime Los Angeles in Southern California, let me know in the comments too because you never know what magic we can make happen. All right. So before we go on to Friday, let's talk about one of our sponsors, the Magic Candle Company. The Magic Candle Company, this is one I love candles. I love theme parks. And one of my favorite scents, Haunted Mansion Holiday, just smelling that gingerbread scent as you're kind of going through the ballrooms part of the Haunted Mansion. And you can bring that scent home with Haunted Holiday at the Magic Candle Company. And is there any theme park scents that you like, or just something, or you're just kind of curious about something like, what the heck does Soarin' over India smell like? Smells very lovely. It smells like jasmine. You can use our discount code EAT15 to save 15% off your total purchase at the Magic Candle Company. Also, let's talk about Friday. So this was like the crowd going into Friday morning of Anime Los Angeles, and this is like one of the main entrances to get into the convention. I was up around 10 a.m. I decided to stop by Starbucks. That was like right in that shopping center, but that Starbucks was hella crowded. It's like, I'll just get a bottle of Frappuccino in the convention center. Like, I know it's gonna cost me $6 when I could probably get it for 4, but I don't care. I needed my coffee in the morning, and the Starbucks and the Renaissance was closed because they were under renovation. Because that's why I say it to Renaissance people. It's because it has the most convenient Starbucks. Speaking of which, I will take a whiff of my coffee right now. Always stay hydrated, even if it's just caffeine. Also, one of the things about Anime Los Angeles that makes it unique, like, let's say you win around at like tabletop gaming, whether you're playing board games downstairs or at the arcade, or if you win something at like the formal dance, like let's say one of your costumes wins something, you will get like these prize tickets, and you can redeem them in the prize emporium. So think of it as kind of like the Chuck E. Cheese or round one like prize redemption. And what I thought was very interesting was like they also had like VHS tapes here, like, oh hey, check out this relic from the past. Like, which anime titles do you guys recall from this set here? Because like I have not seen like anime VHS tapes like out in the wild in a while. Because like even then, like, physical media is just so underrated, because I know everything's like have has like gone to streaming, and like I'm on this quest to collect a lot of physical media from the anime that I enjoy. And I'm still kind of disappointed that we don't have a Sailor Moon Eternals like DVD release. So like, I don't know, I'm a physical media nerd, and just seeing like VHS tapes in the wild just amuses me. Also, let's talk about some Friday cosplay highlights. I know one of our team members had, in our formal dance division, had mentioned that there was a Jollibee cosplayer running around, and lo and behold, there's a Jollibee cosplayer. I also enjoy original interpretations of Sailor Senshi. So you have like the Sailor Senshi from Super Mario, and then you also had like this adorable Isabelle cosplayer from Animal Crossing. Where the Isabelle cosplayer is standing is like my favorite spot for photos at the Long Beach Convention Center. It's like this lake area. You can kind of see blue skies there. It is a bit of a hike to get to, I do admit it, but the lighting there is really nice. And if you can get there on a clear day in the morning, you can get some really beautiful photos out there. All right, let's talk about Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So with Cosplay Wrestling Federation, this is one of the events that I enjoy and that I always gush about at conventions. And I recently started doing a lot of the main stage shows of Cosplay Wrestling Federation at San Diego Anime Con. And um, at Anime Los Angeles, they had 2 nights. So their first night was on the second day of ALA, and that's when I performed in the breakout tournament. The breakout tournament is for new folks, so yeah, I'm new to Cosplay Wrestling Federation. I entered in as Saber Lily. I had a great time on stage. I got to be Saber Lily. I got to play her up as like this like innocent yet cute, like, but I'm still strong. You can still count on me. And you know what? If we win, we're gonna dine on gin and juice. And I just raised my Excalibur to the heavens, and it was a lot of fun. You have like, um, wow, where do I start with this? You also have the scramble where you also have like different wrestlers just trying to vie for like the 24/7 belts. And you also have like just a couple of characters like Luigi going heel. You have like the Bone Zone folks here from Undertale, also just flexing and going up against Delphs. And I think my favorite part of it was this live stream of the Burrito Bash. It's not online as of this stream, but the Burrito Bash was like one of the most epic things I've ever seen, ever filmed. And if it's online, again, it's probably not online right now. They'll probably be online probably later in January on the CWF YouTube channel, but it is amazing stuff. Like, you gotta see it to believe it. and just some of highlights of just some folks who were part of Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So I mentioned earlier that I was part of the breakout tournament, which was new folks just trying to like just vie to get a spot in the main show, which was on the second day. I didn't make it, but it was okay. I mean, it was a learning lesson for me. I still had fun nonetheless, but um I was very happy that like my friends were made it into date night 2 of Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So you have Soldier from Team Fortress who just was all about the America and how Anime Los Angeles should be renamed to America Los Angeles. Think about that one for a second. You got my buddy here, Bill Ding, and you also have Jigglypuff over here too. I was kind of like joking around how we need to get like Bandit Keith, Soldier, Bill Ding here, and just probably team up with a cop and an indigenous person, and you would have like the village people team. But hey, that's just me, just kind of like being weird. And also just some other folks who entered in with Cosplay Wrestling Federation. You have Junko here from Danganronpa, who was also one of the hostesses. You got Heel Luigi here, and then you also had the Black Mage. And just some late night shenanigans. So just after Cosplay Wrestling Federation, it was already nighttime, so you had some cosplay shenanigans, just kind of like just going around in the main lobby. You had folks blasting trap music in the middle of the convention center lobby and starting like their own like dance. I decided to check out 2 panels. One was diversity in cosplay, and you had cosplayers from Ohio, originally from the South Bay, originally from the LBC, talk about diversity, specifically experiences, the lived experiences of African American cosplayers. And I thought it was really interesting because they were also talking about their collaborations with various video game companies, and they were also talking about like crafting. And I would like to see these folks because they were talking a lot about like crafting with foam and armor making. I would love to see them like do like a workshop on that type of thing on that subject because I think they were very knowledgeable on the topic, and I thought that was it was a very informative and very interesting panel because one of the things that they were asking was like, other than Storm, name and a black character from fiction. And you had people raising their hands, and it was like multi fiction, so people were alluding to characters from Carol and Tuesday, um Static Shock, and so forth. So I thought it was a very interesting discussion panel. Also, right after that panel, I checked out Most Extreme Ranking Challenge as hosted by my buddy Tyler here. I've heard of these panels. I've never actually attended one, but I decided to sit myself down like, okay, you know what? I've been seeing these panels listed at conventions. I gotta check this out. So part of this panel team here is my buddy Anna Voltage and Michelle Maka. And I decided, like, you know, I've done panels with these cats before. Let me just be in the audience and support them. So, the theme of for this rendition of Most Extreme Ranking Challenge was anime besties. So, like, who are like the best anime besties like of all time? And we got some pretty wild ones. Like, of course, we got like the Ash and Pikachu. We got Sailor Moon and her squad. My favorite one was mentioned at towards the end, Tomoyo and Sakura, because come on, you have making costumes for your bestie and getting them on film, making sure they got your good angles and your good side. Like, yeah, that's like the power of friendship right there. But you got some wild entries too, like um, Ash's mom and Mr. Mime, Takumi and the Hachiroku. And you got some it got pretty wild, but it was really funny because it was just people just debating why their bestie pairing, for lack of a better word, was like the best why they thought it was like the best friendship of all of anime. So I thought it was a very lively discussion panel, a very lively debate panel, especially from this guy right here. He got pretty passionate. I believe his name is Matt, and he was just like just entertaining, and I was just busting up anytime he opened his mouth. So like this is I thought was a very lively panel. If you have a chance, if you have the time, I highly recommend checking out Most Extreme most extreme ranking challenge if you ever have a chance to see it at a convention live. And it seems like they do different themes like at every con, but I do appreciate like, ooh, anime besties. We don't really have that conversation all that often. Like we talk about anime OTPs and ships, but like we never really talk about besties all that often. All right, before we get into day three, Saturday, we're gonna promote Weeb Mart. Weeb Mart, this is a local event to Southern California. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, we do have a grand anime swap meet happening on January 27th. This is hosted by our friends over at Annie Marketplace. So if you want to like to see what a bunch of your fellow otaku are selling, this can be figures, DVDs, ooh, physical media, cosplay, cosplay accessories, and so forth. Come down to Weeb Mart over in downtown Los Angeles. We'll be having our event at a warehouse. So rain or shine, we're still happening. We got some drinks to also share with y'all. We have like our Maid Academy Cafe drink, our Annie Marketplace themed drink, because also got some bartenders coming out for this event too. So it's gonna be fun, sip and shop, and we hope to see you at Weebart. And with that said, I will take a sip from my coffee right here before we move on to Saturday. Oh, check out that car. So on Saturday is obviously the busiest day of the convention. And I was just kind of like just walking around like, oh hey, check out this car right here as I was about to like just climb up the stairs to get to the convention center because I decided to stop by Starbucks, like, but the line was long. Like, nope, I'll just go back and get that bottled frappuccino. And this was the crowd, what the crowd was like early Saturday morning, what it was like to like get into the dealer's hall. So this is like a bird's eye view of the main convention center lobby. So this is kind of like what the crowds look like early Saturday afternoon, right before people were going into the dealer's hall. Also, I just had to share my friend's tiny car here from MF Ghost. I haven't seen the anime, but it's like one of those racing animes that's bringing back Eurobeat back on the putting Eurobeat back on the map. By the way, I just love the 8-6 here because I just realized that like, oh, 8-6 Hachiroku. I also wanted to just talk about the gaming room very briefly here. So, the gaming room was over at the Seaside Ballrooms, and I know there's like a love-hate relationship with the attendees in the Seaside Ballrooms. So the Seaside Ballrooms are a bit of a hike to get to. You either have to go underneath the bowels of the Long Beach Terrace Theater to get here, or you need to cross through the dealer's hall to get to the Seaside Ballrooms. It's a bit of a hike to get to. The gaming room was relatively compared for a medium-sized con. I would say it was pretty small compared to like cons of the same size. I mean, I'm very happy that there was like room for rhythm games here. There wasn't like a long wait, but then again, people weren't too motivated to go to the Seaside Ballrooms because it's a bit of a hike to get to. I mean, you did have some console gaming. A couple of friends of mine were playing Street Fighter 6 in the gaming room, but like I said, there was like no wait for like most of these games, and I wanted to do some DDR and Power Paradise, but I'm like, my costumes are kind of restrictive to do that. So it was just kind of fun to just kind of like people watch for a little bit. And plus, you had like some cozy couches in the dealer's hall. I mean, sorry, in the gaming hall as well. Also, some cosplay highlights. We're going old school again. So you have your classic Vash and Wolfwood. You have Guts from Berserk. Oh, yeah, and there's Ryoga. Looks like he's lost again. And just some other cosplay highlights. We're really seeing like a lot of like old school just really come back to the convention scene, which makes me happy. I was very happy to see Oran right here. I mean, the last time I saw Oran at the Long Beach Convention Center was Anime Expo '02. I had a friend who cosplayed as Oran and got a lot of compliments from that. Sabrina from Pokemon, one of my favorite gym trainers, one of my favorite story arcs in the original Pokemon. And then we also had Millie from Old School Trigun as well. This is the food court. This is like where the food trucks were located. I probably should have got a photo of like the food trucks that were present at Emmy Los Angeles. And I didn't really think we had a good variety of food trucks present. I know in the past when we had the food trucks lined up like right outside the convention center, like right in that like bridge area, we had a lot more variety of food being presented. As much as I like Okamoto Kitchen, they were charging, in my opinion, just way too much for their food. Like, I had to stand in line for about half an hour to spend $30 on a bento and a drink. And I'm like, guys, you guys aren't Disneyland. I'm more than happy to like maybe spend probably like 20 for like a bento and a drink, but I just thought $30 and after standing in line for like half an hour was just way too much. And also on day one, they ran out of food right before 5 o'clock. So I'm like, get your act together. And I also kind of thought like, okay, we have a California Pizza Kitchen food truck, but we got California Pizza Kitchen right across the street, and we have like some interesting mixes of like Mexican food and Korean food. And I ended up getting a quesadilla on night one, and I thought like, yeah, it's all right, it's fine. But a friend pointed out to me that the Mexican food trucks outside the convention center were a lot cheaper, and a friend of mine said they were able to get carne asada fries for like five bucks. So take that information as you will. But I just really felt like we could have used much more variety of food trucks, because I kind of felt like it was either Okamoto Kitchen or some like Mexican fusion blend thing, and I kind of felt like I just needed more choices. I mean, there was also a Thai truck too, but I kind of wanted something a little bit more than just Thai food. One of the things I do like about Anime Expo is at least when they have food trucks, at least it's a variety of just different food to choose from. Um, I personally like the salt truck. That's one of my favorites. And also at the Matsuri, their Matsuri event in the middle of the con, they have a lot of Japanese food variety. I think like having like just even like a sushi truck, I think would be very helpful. But that's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts on the food truck situation as someone who doesn't mind paying a little bit for food, but I also kind of want my variety of things to choose from as well. Also, on Saturday at the con, Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So this was a packed house. And we had about 15 wrestlers try to compete for the title of Cosplay Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. And this is our buddy here, Frankie. And he got the audience to stand up and do the whole super thing. And I also just wanted to just kind of highlight to some cosplayers on Saturday as well. You also I'm also very happy to see like Perfect Blue cosplayers, and now that's I'm like, okay, I need cosplay from Perfect Blue now. Like, it's my favorite horror movie, and I'm just so happy to see Perfect Blue cosplayers in 2024. And of course, like as someone who used to run Bakano cosplay meetups in the late O's, yeah, late O's, I think that's the thing. I'm also very happy to see Isaac and Miria, because I used to cosplay as Miria back in the day. And Isaac and Miria, they were also part of Cosplay Wrestling Federation. And it's just a joy to see, like, because I really feel these two really embody who Isaac and Miria are. And I just love seeing them on stage, just kind of just acting like doofuses. It's just like, oh, I love them. Also, just kind of like just some Saturday night, just kind of vibes. You kind of have like, I just love how there's like three buggy the clowns in this like photo here. You have a lot of people just kind of like just wandering around, doing ribbon trading. Ribbon trading is like part of Anime Los Angeles culture, and you also had folks just kind of like just vibing and just kind of like just dancing to just random music played in the lobby, because there was always this guy who was like playing like trap music in the lobby, and people were just kind of getting down with that. Also, just a couple more vibes. So I co-hosted the Gunpla panel with our friend and collaborator, the Dapper Bard. So he did a presentation on Gunpla. I was brought in at the last minute to co-host. Originally, I really wanted to watch Masquerade, because Masquerade was being moved up to the Long Beach Terrace Theater, and I just really wanted to just go out and support friends. But because of last minute setbacks, he the original person that he was supposed to do the panel with ended up not going to ALA, and his other person who was the backup So also backed out at the last second. So like, okay, I guess I can co-host this. So I ended up just wearing Haman Karn at the panel, and I just did my best to just moderate the presentation. So the reason why I have these here is like not only as an excuse to talk about our Gundle panel, which was very well attended. We almost had like a full room in there, but there's this store called LA Gundam Hobby, and every day, like at their booth, they would have like a vote for like this Gundam thing or that Gundam thing. And I love the results here for best antagonist. And I don't think you have to be a Gundam fan to agree that capitalism is the best antagonist. Of course, I voted for Xeon, but that's just me being a UC fan. So, yeah. Also, one of the highlights of the nightlife of Anime Los Angeles is the karaoke room. I kind of like just dipped in there for like a little bit and caught someone singing the real folk blues. And every now and then you'll catch someone singing like Evanescence, Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance. So the karaoke room was pretty poppin'. Anytime I was just walking by there, like on the second floor. Also, one of the nightlife staples is the Cosplay Deviants Dance. This is the rave that they have on Friday and Saturday, and it's hosted by Cosplay Deviants. And basically, it's just basically a rave. People just bring light sticks, people sell glow sticks, and the dance floor is pretty packed. But what I also found interesting about this dance was someone brought in like their own stereo and their own music and started to have their own dance like in the back of the dance hall. And I'm like, guys, like, that's kind of rude. We already have a DJ out here. I mean, if you want to like play your own music and have your own dance, I mean, I guess you can take that outside. But this was a really poppin' place, and it's really nice. I mean, I'm not really into raves. Sometimes I'll just like it's kind of pop in, just kind of like to see how everything's going. They had a bar like at the dance as well, and they also had the peanut vendor. ALA sure loves their peanut vendor. Also, again, like I mentioned, part of ALA culture, what makes it unique is they're one of the few anime conventions that really embraces ribbon culture that came from like the boomer sci-fi fantasy conventions. So ribbon collecting is basically you can earn a ribbon different ways you can, and the ribbons are accessories that you can attach to your badge. And some people, they like to go buck wild and collect hundreds of ribbons throughout the weekend. I was giving out a couple of ribbons. I'll talk more about that in a few. And you also just had people who just love to like just do the ribbon drop off the second floor of the convention center. I didn't catch that this year, but also one of the late night staples is you had people like around the lobby doing ribbon trading, ribbon collecting, and just showing off their ribbons. I mean, I had a pretty long ribbon trail with my badge to the point where I couldn't wear my badge around my neck, otherwise I'd step on my ribbon, so I had to tie it to my bag. And I had to figure out a creative way so my ribbons don't get crumpled, because when you accumulate so many ribbons, you want to make sure that like you don't lose your ribbon trail. And ALA even had like a ribbon station where you can put masking tape or duct tape on the back of your ribbon so it's all together. So ribbon culture is like a huge staple. And again, it's very unique to Anime Los Angeles, particularly being an anime convention, because ribbons are much more commonplace, like I said, at boomer sci-fi and fantasy events. And it's just kind of really cool just kind of seeing millennials and Gen Zs kind of like really embrace this tradition from science fiction and fantasy conventions. All right, before we go into the last day, let's talk about one of our sponsors, YEMAX Sweaters. YEMAX Sweaters, they have been a sponsor with us since day one when we started our podcast on Twitch. So basically, YEMAX Sweaters are probably my favorite place to grab sweaters or cozy gear. So basically, you can get like vintage themed sweaters, great for like pinup style, Disney bounding, Lolita, and so forth. And you can also get like sweaters here, which if you're just really into cozy wear or just lounge wear. And you can use our code YEMAC-Dame Asmal to get 40% off your total purchase at yemacsweater.com. Great for gifts or just a gift for yourself, or if you just want to treat yourself. All right, let's go into the last day. So, ended up just checking out my hotel room and just kind of like just sort of just wandering around the convention. So here, on the last day, this is live programming too, and this is my buddy, Justin over here, and they had like a fight with foam workshop. So I just kind of like decided to just check it out while I was having my morning coffee. I just needed like just somewhere to sit and just kind of like to sip my coffee for a bit, and it was just kind of like just amusing to see like folks just kind of like do like foam combat here. So they were like doing like foam combat training, and they were also having a foam combat tournament on the last day. So I thought this was pretty cool to have here. I was cosplaying as Jean from I was cosplaying as Jean from Genshin that day, so I was in a maid outfit. So like, okay, not the best outfit to do foam combat in. But if I was better dressed for like, I probably wouldn't have been up for it. Also, this was the cosplay feedback section of session for Masquerade. Like I said, wasn't able to attend Masquerade because of conflicts with co-hosting the Gunpla panel, but I also wanted to just provide my 2 cents in for the Masquerade application. For those of you who don't know, Anime Los Angeles's Masquerade is becoming a destination Masquerade. In fact, it is a destination Masquerade. They ended up using the main theater to host Masquerade, and it is this beautiful theater, and that's where AX01 Masquerade was held, AX02 Masquerade was held, and you had people like from um, all over the West Coast and neighboring states competing at ALA Masquerade. Like, this is even bigger than Anime Expo's Masquerade currently. And you have like so many people wanting to enter in that you run out of space. In a matter of a few minutes, when the application for Masquerade opened for Anime Los Angeles, spots filled up really fast, even the waitlist spots. I was just kind of like, I was in the middle of something when the Masquerade application opened. I kind of figured like, okay, 8:30, half an hour after it opens, maybe I could submit my name in. It was already full. So I wanted to at least just kind of like just put my 2 cents in there in regards to that. And I really like this Masquerade team. And there's very few conventions on the West Coast that really embrace that traditional Masquerade kind of like skit competition, having your costume thoroughly looked at. Because as much as I love some of the smaller anime conventions out here and how much as I enjoy them, it's not the same as like putting effort into creating like a Masquerade performance or a presentation. Because even though I come from the world of judging a lot of these like walk-ons, do a few poses on stage, there's just something about like a cosplay contest where you're able to present yourself being in character, acting in character, and writing a a stage act, a stage presentation that really just goes along with your character. And people get very theatrical. And I really feel that, at least on the West Coast, we're really missing that element. And that's one of the reasons why at Anime Impulse last year in Anaheim, I was disappointed that they didn't even have a cosplay contest. Anime Impulse LA is also happening this weekend as I'm recording this, and I doubt they have a costume contest. So I really appreciate Anime Los Angeles for really preserving the integrity of masquerades. And like I said, I wish I could have seen it because I've been watching a lot of the video playback. Like, oh my god, it looks like it was an amazing show, and it just really highlights a lot of the best cosplayers on the West Coast. And I would have been loved to have been a part of it, but alas, I was half an hour too late to submit my entry. But let's just see what they have in store for next year, because they are working on a better system to get as many to get folks to sign up for Masquerade. All right, so like I said earlier, Genshin is, oh, I feel for a while is going to be a very popular fandom at anime conventions. So, I went to the Genshin gathering on the last day, and there was a lot. Not gonna lie, there was a lot of Genshin cosplayers present. And these are just only just like a few photos of like just certain factions of Genshin. So we had like Team Pyro here, and like it was just kind of cool, just kind of like just hanging out with just Genshin people for like a little bit. I was also giving away Jean ribbons from the Genshin ribbon game. I was part of the Genshin ribbon game, so every one of us in the Genshin ribbon game, we claim a character, and people have to find us, and they had to answer like a trivia question or like any question that we provide, and they'll get a character ribbon. So I was casting as Jean, and Jean, her favorite food is pizza. And I had like two questions for, and either and if you answer either question, you would get a ribbon. So one is like, okay, so Jean likes pizza. Pizza's her favorite food. What's your favorite pizza topping? And if you could tell me what your favorite pizza topping is, you get a ribbon. Or if you wanted to answer the second question, because I ship Jean with Lisa, who's your favorite sword lesbian? I was very sad because even though I did give away ribbons for like who's your favorite sword lesbian, none of y'all answered Utena. Y'all need to watch Utena. For those of you who are like just simping over Shira right now, go watch Utena. It's streaming for free on YouTube, by Nozomi Entertainment. So y'all need to watch Utena. But thank you so much for everyone for partaking in the ribbon game, and thank you like the Genshin ribbon game organizers, um, for running this, because I imagine it's not easy to run like a ribbon game as massive as this one was, because I know there were people who are like looking for like, yeah, I just need Jean's ribbon. Like, I got you. I got you. Just tell me who your favorite sword lesbian is. And the reason why I was cosplaying as Jean, during Anime Los Angeles on the last day, I was invited to be part of a Genshin maid group, and my Jean cosplay was just kind of like just sitting in storage for since Anime Boston, since the last time I wore Jean. And my buddy here said like, hey, do you want to be in our Genshin maid group? We need Jean. Like, hell yeah, I'm in. So ended up cosplaying as Jean, and we ended up just taking photos right by the Rainbow Lagoon. And this is one of the photos that one of our friends took on their phone to show like, yeah, this is our group of Genshin mates here. So yeah, thank you for having me be a part of this group. Like, even though it's like a last minute type thing, I was very sad not to see like a Lisa or a Beidou or Ninghuan. I know my friend Alice, she probably would have gone as like maid Lisa to my maid Jean, or like we'll figure out like maid Ninghuan and maid Beidou. Ah, yes, the lobby on Sunday. So, Sunday was still pretty poppin'. Sunday was still pretty busy. Anime Los Angeles is those few anime cons that's still pretty active, like within the afternoon hours. So the dealer's hall closes at 5 o'clock. And I was just like, let me just do some wandering after the Genshin gathering. By this time, a lot of my out of town friends decided to just drive up back to the Bay Area, or my friends who are just kind of closer to my age, like, you know what? Um, this we're already spent. Let's just go home and just take a nap. Like, I was kind of getting there too, like around 4 o'clock. So I decided to just do one last round, just to see friends, to see if anyone wanted to hang out, or just kind of like, just wanted to chit chat and catch up. Yeah, just more photos of the lobby on Sunday. Kind of see like, yeah, things are just about to wind down. I have also ran into a couple of my friends at the Hyatt, who are doing some cosplay photo shoots. And these are my friends who also attended Anime Expo in Long Beach in '01 and '02. And we were just talking about, like, yeah, it feels like we're getting some wild flashbacks from when Anime Expo was here. All right, let's talk about some final thoughts. Yeah. Let's talk about some final thoughts on Anime Los Angeles. All right, so we three kings. It's funny because it was also Three Kings weekend. So if you celebrate like the holidays, Saturday was like Three Kings Day. So at one point or another, um, Dapper Bard had to cosplay as Gil. Obviously, I was Saber Lily, and our buddy here, Azure Mage, cosplaying as Boy Arthur. So good things about Anime Los Angeles. Um, I always enjoy this convention, and honestly, real talk, Anime Los Angeles is like one of the few California cons to be a true like weekend 24-hour convention, for lack of a better phrase. Um Anime Expo, I kind of feel, is almost like half commuter con, half destination con, and for a lot of people that's like the one convention locally that they attend because it's so huge. But I come from the generation of anime convention attendees where like yeah, you go to a convention, you get a hotel, you spend your weekend there with friends, you partake in your fandom together, you celebrate together, and whatever celebration is means to you is up to your interpretation. And it was just pretty much like your getaway from the real world. And again, you and your friends would just try to stuff yourself in a hotel room and just enjoy the weekend together. And yeah, and that was just like how I attended conventions, and like what I think a ideal convention is to me. And we, at least in Southern California, we live in a world where there's like a lot of like 1 day conventions, 2 day conventions. I know Anime Impulse is happening right now, and usually things end at 6 o'clock, and there's no further programming after 6 o'clock. The same thing with Anime Pasadena. If you count the after party, but I'm counting like events where late night things are a part of that package, and these conventions are really there to just cater and serve to that hotel crowd. Like, yeah, let's get a room, let's karaoke all night. And I really miss that vibe. And Anime Los Angeles is like one of the few cons, or like the con in Southern California, that still celebrates that kind of vibe. And I know like a lot of people have moved on to Comic Cons, WonderCons, pop culture events, but if you've been following me for like the past couple years, especially last year, I really feel like anime conventions are more my home to me. Most of my fandoms that I embrace are anime, even if they are old, older fandoms. Like, I'm always gonna be a Sailor Moon fan. That's like that's always gonna be a thing with me. I mean, um, Genshin, Hoyoverse stuff, that's gonna come and go, but I'm always gonna be a Sailor Moon nerd. But and I've also been like just reading a lot of manga. I've been reading Delicious in Dungeon, and I feel like this anime has just been my home. And now I'm just kind of like looking to just attending out of state conventions that still kind of have that 24-hour like hotel con kind of vibe to it, because I think like the voice actor focus, the artist alley focus events do have a time and place. I mean, they're great like for being like an affordable events. They're great for family events if you want to meet voice actors, because I think a lot of us back in the early 2000s, we would have loved to like gone to a convention where you can meet like 50 anime voice actors, get their autograph, and just have some chit chat time with them. That would have been amazing. And just nowadays it's like okay, like yeah, I can see Michelle Ruff again like at the next event. So, but just getting back to ALA, I've always appreciated just kind of in the past couple of years when it was in Long Beach, it's really embraced and really leaned into catering to those who want to be at the convention, um, stay at the convention for a while. Like even if it's just whether it's ribbon trading, karaoke, the dance, whether it's the rave or the formal, it really leans in and caters to folks who want to like really make it a weekend getaway. And I've I've really appreciated about that. And this photo was like taken on my phone, and these are just people, just hanging out at the lobby, just trading ribbons, just kind of getting to know each other, making friendships. And I always like this vibe about like the whole like ribbon trading culture, because I remember like a couple of years ago, um, I actually met this Joseph Joestar cosplayer, and we were just kind of like just talking about old school anime because he was giving away like a lot of old school anime ribbons, and like just kind of like that sit down and like, hey, like you can make a new friend here. And I didn't really feel that there was like a lot of clout chasing, or because that's just one of the other things that just really overwhelm me about like a lot of conventions is a lot of the clout chasing. It's really hard to make friends when you have people like that are so focused on making content versus like making connections. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm making content as we speak, but I also like connecting with people who enjoy the same things as I do. Also, I wanted to mention that I did win a Hall Cosplay Award. So this is day one when I was cosplaying as Miyaka Yuki from Fushigi Yugi. So I decided to like just frolic around the convention as Miyaka on day one. And a cosplayer by the name of Subaru Kamui ended up giving me this Hall Cosplay Award. And it really meant a lot to me because I put a lot of effort and work into Miyaka for Anime Expo 2023, and I didn't expect anyone to recognize what I was cosplaying from because Fushigi Yugi has kind of been out of the fandom zeitgeist for so long versus like back in '01, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, like Fushigi Yugi was just everywhere. And then I was very happy that people actually noticed what I was from. Um, like I said at Anime Expo, like yeah, like I would get like, "Hey, I love your Genshin cosplay." Like, yeah, thanks. It's not from Genshin. It's from female-led isekai with really hot bishis and stuff. So I was very happy that people actually recognized my Miyaka cosplay, and it was like even as minor as like a Holocaust award might seem like surface level, it just really meant a lot to me that like my peers recognized the work that I put into my cosplay. And just having like just moments like this again just kind of just really encouraged me to go back into competing, going back into doing masquerade again. And yeah, and just a couple other my cosplays from the event. ALA, like I said, I really like Long Beach because it's just so scenic. There's a lot of places where you can get some really nice cosplay photos. Like I know the center photo doesn't really like illustrate it very well. But they still had a lot of Christmas decorations up from like the holidays, like in front of the Terrace Theater. So people were really taking advantage of like getting some of the holiday decorations into their cosplay photos. And I'm a huge fan of taking photos at the Rainbow Lagoon, like in the morning when you can get that clear blue sky. So that's also like one of my favorite places for cosplay photos. And I really think Long Beach has really come a long way. Like I know when AX was in Long Beach, '01, '02, and '07, a lot of the complaints where it was too spread out. And like, yeah, I don't blame them. Because registration was in the West End, and all the main events were at the Terrace Theater, and there's also some events in the Seaside Ballrooms and the main convention center. But I just really think that ALA, I mean, it's not a perfect layout. I mean, the Seaside Ballrooms do exist, but I think like we're learning how to utilize the Long Beach Convention Center to the best of its capacity and abilities that it can offer. And I've always liked the Long Beach Convention Center. Like I'm like one of the few people that actually did like AX when it was in Long Beach. At least for '01 and '02. '07, that's a different can of worms. But yeah, you can also see here like in the game room. So there's a story behind this photo. During AX02, I got into the karaoke contest, and at the karaoke contest, was wearing like this oversized like red sweater and like short mini skirt. It was a style at the time. So one of the reasons why I wore your in the red sweater is like, yeah, I kind of cosplayed as Yor back in '02 when Spy Family didn't exist. I need to do a comparison photo on my socials. Like, hi, here's me wearing a red sweater in the Seaside Ballrooms in '02, and here's me as Yor in the Seaside Ballroom. So I ended up just wearing that in the video game room, and you can also see here, because this is also the video game room too. You had like couches like parked in front of like some of the consoles. Like, oh yeah, that's pretty cozy. But yeah, overall, my final thoughts on ALA. I feel like if you're a local to the general Los Angeles area, and if you have like the means and the time to do so, because I know that ALA, yeah, it's after the holidays, and you kind of want to still like mentally unwind after like doing all the holiday this and that. Because I know like I was still recovering from New Year's Eve during ALA. If you have the means, it is a good one to check out. They do have a decent amount of voice actors present as guests of honor. There was hardly like the lines for voice actors to get autographs weren't as crazy long. Um, they do have a really good selection of panels, and like I said, I was able to check out a couple, like even if as busy as I was. Um, Dealer's Hall is pretty solid. The only thing I didn't not like about the Dealer's Hall is like they had like this the Wyndham Resorts, and it was basically like, hey, sign up for our timeshare. And sadly, a lot of younger weebs tend to be impressionable and like, ooh, shiny, like I could spin a wheel and win something. And I just don't like having like a very manipulative kind of organization there who are known to prey on like very impressionable folks. So, um, I could have done without the Wyndham Resorts being there. This is just me just looking out for the community. And also as someone who does vet for vendors and artists at smaller events too. I just don't, I think it's very inappropriate for a timeshare company to have space in the booth when vendors hall, when it could be like, I don't know, maybe a candy company that sells Japanese Kit Kats. I would have loved that. Also, there was a Love Live booth that was selling food from a Love Live cafe. Like, oh man, I missed out on that. But overall, like if you have the means to and the time and the mental capacity to check out ALA, even if it's for a Saturday or a Sunday, because I still think that there's a couple things that are worth checking out on Sunday. And plus, the badge is a really good value because pre-registration for 4 days was $65, and that's getting you a lot of good things, good things, and a lot of access to a lot of programming. And I like how the Long Beach Convention Center is very centralized, whereas Anime Expo, it's like what now, $150 for pre-registration for all 4 days. And y'all know that's LineCon. Y'all know you'll be waiting in the heat. Y'all know you'll be waiting quite a bit for like everything. I mean, I'm still covering Anime Expo nonetheless, but I do think that Anime Los Angeles is probably the best convention so far in Southern California, and I do recommend this convention to friends from out of state who feel kind of burnt out from like the industry driven conventions and just want to go to something that feels very by fans for fans. Anime Los Angeles is it. So if you're like one of my friends listening in from like New England, or like or anywhere on the East Coast or anywhere in general, like if you're thinking about doing a convention out here in California, Anime Los Angeles, definitely put that high on your list to check out. And plus, you're coming out during Southern California winter, so you best prepare for 60 degrees of winter. All right. With that said, that pretty much wraps up this episode of Convention Tea. Definitely support us on our Ko-fi. Whatever you donate to our Ko-fi, that can cover for our parking, that can cover for our Uber or Lyft. It can cover for my coffee as well because I can't function without coffee. And likewise, you can always visit our website, scarlet-rhapsody.com, to read any of our convention reports from the past. Because, like I said, we have over 20 years of convention lore on our website. So if you're curious to know what Anime Expo was like in '07 when it was at the Long Beach Convention Center, we got that report right there. We got photos right there too. All right, with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Convention Tea, and we will see you at the con.